allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City Council meeting. There is the Open Meetings Act is posted on the meeting room wall and is accessible to members of the public at any time during the course of this meeting. Let the record show that all council members are present this evening with the exception of Councilman Claybaugh. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. First item is item A, approve agenda as submitted. Item B, receive and place on file all notices pertaining to this meeting. Item C, receive and place on file all materials having any bearing on this meeting. Item D, approval of minutes of special meeting on August 29th, 2016 as on file in the city clerk's office. Item E, approval of treasurer's report of claims in the amount of $560,131.94. Item F, approval of Boswell report of claims in the amount of $58,955.79. Item G, approval of a write-off of ambulance bad debts. Item H, approval of special designated license application of Main Street Beatrice for the Magic of Main Street fundraiser on September 30th, 2016 from 5 p.m. until 12 a.m. at 105 North 6th Street, Beatrice, Nebraska. Item I, approval of special designated license for Main Street Beatrice for the Governor's Pheasant Hunt fundraiser on November 4th, 2016 from 4 p.m. until 12 a.m. and November 5th, 2016 from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. at 701 Court Street, Beatrice, Nebraska. Item J, approval of special designated license for Raymond Arter for a fundraiser for the Pregnancy Center on November 14th, 2016 from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. at 105 North 6th Street, Beatrice, Nebraska. And item K, resolution number 5955, entering into an agreement for services with Tarragon Consultants, Inc. for brownfields assessment reviews and other services related to properties located directly west of 1st Street between Ellis Street and West Jefferson Street. Is there any item that a city council member would like removed from the consent agenda? Rich?
K.
Item K. Anyone else? Anyone from the public? Mr. Catlin?
Mayor, I move that all the items listed under the consent agenda, with the exception of item K, be approved, accepted, and ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that all items under the consent agenda be approved with the exception of item K. Your vote, please. And that is approved That is approved, excuse me. There we go. That is approved 7-0. Mr. Catlin, item K.
Mayor, I move the resolution number 5955, entering into an agreement for services with Terracon Consultants Incorporated for brownfields assessment reviews and other services related to properties located directly west of 1st Street between Ellis Street and West Jefferson Street, be approved, accepted, and or ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Kerr, that we discuss resolution number 5955. Discussion.
The only reason I pulled this off is I called Toby a couple of times this morning. He was on the phone. I just wanted to know what it was.
We've had some very preliminary discussions about possibly purchasing that ground that's down there. It'd be owned by Dan Catlin, D&L Investments, and Farmers Co-op. And I know one of the first questions anybody's going to ask is what the environmental cleanup and issues would be with that property. There have been phase 2 studies done down on that property before. This hires Terracon to come and basically interpret those phase 2 studies that have been done, let us know what additional data might be needed and what they would estimate a possible cleanup would be if you were to move forward with acquiring those properties.
Okay. That's all I need.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Anyone from the public? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. All right, next item on the agenda is public hearings. First public hearing is to be held to amend the fiscal year 2016 budget.
we talked last time about the budget. Linda, you want to come up and talk as well about what we've got? Page 38 in your packet talks about what we're looking to amend this year. There's just a couple of items, those being Keno funds. We brought in a few more dollars and we transferred out a few more dollars than what we initially budgeted for. The health insurance, the EBA fund, we had a few claims come in higher than we anticipated, and so we have to take a little bit out of the cash reserves on the EBA fund. And MFO is the last one. That has to do with the fire department and some mutual aid money that they receive. We actually received more money than we anticipated, and so we dispersed out more money to the other communities as part of that MFO agreement as well. Those are the three items that we're looking to amend on the budget for this year.
Questions of Linda? It's a pretty small amount, actually. Anyone from the public?
Public hearing. Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:07 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that the public hearing be closed at 7:07 p.m. Your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Next item, and Linda, please stay if you would, is a public hearing on the second year of the proposed fiscal year 2016 and 17 biannual budget.
I mean, this is the same budget we went over last week with, at the work session with everybody. We didn't have really any changes to it, other than those we kind of discussed last time. Unless anybody had anything new or different to add or change than what we talked about at our last meeting.
Stan,
Yes,
I
Ted?
don't really have a question about that, but I have a question about the last item that we just did. Can I include it in the budget since we just had it?
Same conversation.
Okay, so the health insurance claim that jumped up, is that an ongoing, you said it was stuff?
It's not one person.
No, I know, no, I understand, it's not one person, but I'm not asking specifics. What I'm asking is, it is kind of a large sum of money, and I want to know if it's something ongoing, if this is something that is spiraling upwards, or if these were one-time incidences. I mean, is that something we need to be budgeting more for because it's an ongoing illness or something, because sometimes when you're self-insured, you take a hit. So that's what
We are budgeting more next year for health insurance
okay,
than we did this year. We have been ratcheting that up for about the last 4 or 5 years,
right?
increasing that amount slowly to get to where our insurance experts say we should be. Other than that, Linda, I mean, we had claims that came in that $40,000 to $50,000 range, not enough to hit reinsurance, but enough to impact our pocketbook.
So, yeah, we increased it 120,000 next year. So, and that was already planned on. That's why you don't see it on this list, but
No, I had that from
Yeah.
from the budget we had last week, that I looked at it there. I saw the increase from the second. I didn't think it was 120. I thought I wrote. Anyway, obviously it's 120 because you said it was. I didn't think it was quite that much. But I just wondered if that was something that we needed to be addressing, that we need to be putting more than that in.
I think Linda had mentioned earlier that we've just had an inordinate amount of claims this year, and that's kind of what has increased that.
you really just do not know, what people are gonna go in for.
Right.
We had planned on this certain amount for next year. Of course, if next year comes in short again, then the following year, when we do a new 2-year budget, then we'll look at making a change.
Okay.
But for now, we're gonna leave that at the funding level we had planned last year and hope we come in okay this year. We had cash reserves on hand to handle it, and we will still have next year yet, so.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's it.
Any other questions from the public? Mr. Catlin, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:10 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that the public hearing be closed at 7:10 p.m. Your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Next item is an ordinance to adopt the biennial appropriations bill for fiscal year 2016 and 17.
Mayor, I move that said ordinance be given number 16-039. The title therefore be approved. The rules be suspended and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
By Catlin, seconded by Party, that ordinance 16-039 be given the title, the rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. Motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Ordinance number 16-039 by number the first time. Ordinance number 16-039 by number the second time. And ordinance number 16-039 by number the third and final time.
Mayor, I move that ordinance number 16-039 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that ordinance number 16-039 be passed and approved. Discussion. Any further discussion? Anyone? Anyone from the public?
What
Bill?
what is the levy going to change? How many cents? Not much.
It was a
4 cents.
0.00.
4, yeah.
Okay, I did hear that right on the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
On a $100,000 house, what is that, about four?
$4.50.
Huh?
$4.
Okay.
Or $4, yep. Any other discussion? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Ordinance number 16-039 has been approved. Next item is a motion to increase the total restricted funds authority for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2015, ending on September 30th, 2016, by additional 1%, as authorized in Section 13-519 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes.
Mayor, I move to increase the total restricted funds authority for the fiscal year beginning on October 1st, 2015, and ending on September 30th, 2016, by an additional 1%, as authorized in Sections 13-519 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that we increase the total restricted funds as authorized by Section 13-519 of the Nebraska Revised Statute. Discussion, please.
Linda, it should be October 1 of 16 through September 30th of
Oh, yeah.
17, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, I'm talking about next year.
Right. All right, that's just a typo. We'll get that corrected. Any discussion from anyone? Anyone from the public? All right, your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Next item is a public hearing to set the fiscal year 2017 final property tax request.
Again, this is, as we've talked about before, to increase the lovely 0.004 cents for next year. That's the request.
Questions? Anyone? Anyone from the public? Mr. Gatlin?
Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:14 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that the public hearing be closed at 7:14 p.m. Your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Thanks, Linda. Next item is item D, a public hearing on the rezoning application of Gary and Karen Higgins for the rezoning of property located in a part of the north half of the northeast quarter, section 31 township, range 6 east, comprising of 5.349 acres, all in Gage County, Nebraska. Gage County parcel number is 0042430000 from AG Agriculture to RR Rural Residential. That public hearing is now in session.
This was an application that was provided by, as stated, Gary and Karen Higgins in regards to property that's located just off of West Hoyt Road as it comes off of Highway 4, west of the city of Beatrice. It is within our 2-mile zoning jurisdiction, and they're requesting that the property that will be subdivided will be listed as RR from AG. Was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission approximately 30 days ago. I will note for you that there's a new requirement pursuant to state law that we have to give the county 30 days notice before city council action on anything in the 2 mile. And so this is the first item that came under that, and your next applicant will be as well. And so that's substantially slowed down the way that we can do development in the 2 mile zoning jurisdiction because of that 30-day notice. So
So the 30-day notice starts now?
no. We have to
Okay.
give 30 days notice
So
of
we've
this
already done
meeting.
that?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
So due to the way the staggering of public hearings and everything that goes along with it, it unfortunately takes us approximately 45 days now, when it used to take us 2 weeks or so. So, but we'll continue to work at it and work to make sure that we keep them informed and in conformity with that state statute change. We did not receive any, I don't see anybody here from the county tonight. We didn't receive any information on either one of the items from the county, so. They're gonna plat this. There's already what I believe will be known as Brewers Creek subdivision just to the east of it. And so they're just cutting off another one and calling it Brewers Creek second subdivision. Meets all the requirements. I don't know if you have any other questions.
Any questions? Anybody? Anyone from the public? All right, Mr. Catlin?
Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:17 PM.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that the public hearing be closed at 7:17 PM. Your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Next item is a public hearing for the rezoning application of Kevin and Annette Kimmerling for the rezoning of property located in a part of the east half of the northwest quarter of Section 17, Township 3, Range 6 East, comprising of 3.5 acres, all in Gage County, Nebraska. Gage County parcel number 005242100 from AG Agriculture to RR Rural Residential.
Very similar request here. We have the Kimmerlings that are looking to establish, I believe, a homestead down next to the pond. They're owned by Wayne Schultz. And so they're going to place a residence on this property. It does have a pond, that's what it's called, the ponds, located on the physical description of the 3.5 acre lot. They're looking to rezone it RR. The only request we had in regards to this one, and we'll get to it in the plat, is just to denote the elevation levels due to its proximity to a body of water, so that we can use that to determine buildable area. But other than that, that was posted on the property. Again, this was in the 2 mile jurisdiction. It's located on 136 as it heads south out to the west of the city. So,
Did
and
the new regulations sneak up on them on this?
no, I don't think, sneak up, yes, no one's familiar with the fact that there's this 30-day requirement now.
Because the basement's already there, foundation's already dug, the basement's already there.
That would be for the building inspection office.
Yeah,
regards
I
to
don't
that.
care, I'm just saying. So,
I think they were caught off guard in regards to hitting the building season on that one.
oh, I see,
So,
okay.
They were, both them and we don't have that same problem, and I'll explain the issue with the Higgins one. But in regards to the pond, and that can be built now,
Yep.
as long as it meets building requirements. It's just it can't be occupied until it meets the residential requirements, and I don't think that will be a problem.
Yeah,
So,
ways off.
Anyone else have a question? Anyone from the public? Mr. Catlin?
Mayor, I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:19 PM.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that the public hearing be closed at 7:19 PM. And your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Next item is a resolution, resolution number 5956, setting the property tax request for the city of Beatrice for fiscal year 2017.
Mayor, I move that resolution number 5956 be passed and adopted. Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that resolution 5956 be passed and adopted. Any further discussion from anyone? Public? All right, your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Resolution number 5957, I beg your pardon, resolution number 5956 has been approved. Next item is resolution number 5957, calculating the amount of unused restricted funds authority.
Mayor, I move that resolution number 5957 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan. Resolution 5957 be passed and adopted. Again, we discussed this earlier during the public hearing. Any other questions from anyone? All right, and your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Resolution number 5957 has been approved. Next item is item C, a resolution number 5958, regulating all traffic traveling east and west on Park Street to stop before entering the intersection of 9th Street and Park Street.
Mayor, I move that resolution number 5958 be passed and adopted.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that resolution number 5957 be passed and adopted. Discussion.
What do you want, a stop sign?
Yep, on Park Street.
Stuff, or just say, give me a stop sign.
Is there a reason, like accidents or?
There was a request by a number of constituents over in the area for a stop sign due to this intersection and the speed of the traffic going through as they perceive it. If you're crossing 9th Street, it has a substantial dip, and so that slows the north and southbound traffic down, but the Park Street traffic goes right on through for a couple more blocks until it hits the stop sign further to the east. So that's what the request is for.
Questions? Concerns? Anyone from the public? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Resolution number 5958 has been approved. Next item is an ordinance approving the plat of Brewers Creek Second Subdivision for Gary and Karen Higgins.
Mayor, I move that said ordinance be given number 16-040. The title therefore be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that the ordinance be given number 16-040, the title thereof approved, rules suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. A motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Ordinance number 16-040 by number only the first time. Ordinance number 16-040 by number the second time. And ordinance number 16-040 by number the third and final time.
Mayor, I move that ordinance number 16-040 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan. Ordinance number 16-040 be passed and approved. We've already discussed this during a public hearing. Mr. Butcher, anything else?
Actually, in regards to this one, we discussed the rezoning, which you'll hear next as an ordinance. In regards to the plat itself, though, there was an issue which we would request that this motion be held over for 2 weeks. The reason being that the plat of the Higgins property, as I denoted up there, upon a visual inspection by city engineer James Burrows, we determined that we believe there's a substantial pipeline that bisects this property.
Are you talking Higgins or are you talking Brewer?
This is Brewers Creek subdivision, right?
That's Higgins.
Higgins,
Same thing.
yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure we're
Okay.
on the right.
Because the other one's Ponds, which is down south. We contacted Chris Witulski, informed him of the concern. What James would like to see is that the easement that's denoted for the pipeline, which we believe is there, be noted on the actual plat, which it is not. And so all the overhead stuff that we've seen in our contacts, we believe there is a pipeline there. And so we went back to find the easements, working with Chris Witulski's office, and we were unable to identify. Apparently, the easements in this area date back to, I believe, the 30s. And when they filed them just for the quarter section, generally. They didn't give a definitive width for the easement. And so there's nothing specific to denote that. And so what James has requested, though, is that, because the plan, as you know, it is zoned for rural residential, which we could imagine that means that they're going to sell this lot off potentially with somebody building a house on it. We don't want them building a house right on top of a pipeline or within a specific distance of a pipeline. And so until that's done, James said he won't approve the plat. And unfortunately, when we identified that, it was identified after we already called the public hearing, put out notice. And so we thought we would just hear it and then table it for 2 weeks to get that finalized with the gas pipeline company as to the width of their easement, because it's not denoted in the register of deeds at all.
So the motion can stay on the floor,
Yes.
but by your advice, we should table it for 2 weeks.
Yes.
You want a motion?
Are the Higginses,
Motion to table would be
are the
appropriate.
Higginses aware of this?
I did contact their attorney last week, which is Jeff Davis, who's working with them. And I also informed Chris Witulski, who generated the plat for them, about the issue, and said that James won't approve it without the pipeline on there, or without the
I'll
easement.
move to table it for two weeks.
Second.
Moved by Kerr, seconded by Catlin to table ordinance 16-040 for 2 weeks. Your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. We'll take it up in 2 weeks. Next item is item B, ordinance amending the zoning map for the city of Beatrice, Nebraska by changing the zoning of Lot 1. Wait a minute. We don't want to go through, we don't want to go there again, do we? Sorry? Let me move ahead. Next item is an ordinance approving the plat of the Pond subdivision for Kevin and Annette Kimberling.
Mayor, I move that said ordinance number be given number 16-042. The title therefore be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that the ordinance be given number 16-042, the title thereof approved, the rules be suspended, the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. Motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. That's approved 7-0. Ordinance 16-042 by number the first time, ordinance 16-042 by number the second time, and ordinance 16-042 by number the third and final time.
Mayor, I move that ordinance number 16-042 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Cook, that ordinance number 16-042 be passed and approved. Anything further? Mr.
On this
Butcher?
one, we have nothing. James made his request in regards to just making sure the elevations were on the final plat. So we're okay moving forward with this one.
Any questions from the council? From the audience? All right, your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Ordinance number 16-042 has been approved. Next item is an ordinance amending the zoning map for the city of Beatrice, Nebraska by changing the zoning of Lot 1, the Pond subdivision, Gage County, Nebraska, from AG agriculture to RR rural residential.
Mayor, I move that said ordinance be given number 16-043. The title therefore be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Moved by Catlin, second by Billsbach, that the ordinance be given number 16-043, the title thereof approved, the rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. A motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. Ordinance number 16-043 by number only the first time, ordinance number 16-043 by number the second time, and ordinance number 16-043 by number the third and final time.
Mayor, I move that said ordinance number 16-043 be passed and approved.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that ordinance number 16-043 be passed and adopted. Any other discussion?
Nope.
On your part, anybody from the council? Public? And your vote, please. That is approved 7-0. Ordinance 16-043 has been passed and approved. Next item is next item is item E, ordinance repealing section 2-67 of the Beatrice City Code regarding placing matters on the agenda.
Mayor, I move that said ordinance be given number 16-044. The title therefore be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that said ordinance be given number 16-044, the title thereof approved, rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. Motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please.
We're missing
Where are we going there?
There, Joe.
And that fails actually, doesn't it?
Correct. You need 6 for
Need
a
6
motion to
votes.
suspend the rules.
So we cannot suspend the rules.
That was Joe and Catlin voting
And
no.
Catlin voting no. All right, next item on the agenda is a public forum. Purpose of the public forum is for the presentation of an item by the general public to the city council.
We read it one time though, right?
You read it once.
I was waiting.
Read it once.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to read it once tonight on the said ordinance.
Okay. Moved by Cook, seconded by
Fairbanks.
Fairbanks, that the ordinance be read by title only the first time tonight. Discussion. All right, your vote, please. And that is approved for...
Fails.
I'm sorry, that fails also.
Gotta have 5 votes.
Have to have 5 votes, with Morgan, Catlin, and Billsbach voting no. All right, next item on the agenda is the public forum. Purpose of the public forum is for the presentation of an item by the general public to the city council for consideration at a later date. No discussion or action will be taken by the city council at this time. Is there anything for the public forum? From the public? All right. Next item is item 7, discussion of repairs to an alley between 5th Street and 6th Street, Logan to Washington.
Right, this is an alley, we've got some pictures here on page 66 of your packet, kind of gives you an idea of where this alley is located in the city. In addition, we have a couple photos of the current condition. These pictures might have been taken a month or 2 ago of that alley. The alley is a north-south alley. There's also an alley that runs east-west through that block. There's apartment complexes on both sides of that alley. As far as the city's concerned, we have a sanitary sewer that runs through that alley, but we don't have a need for that alley otherwise. It used to be rock at one point. We put some millings in there over the years, but you'll see that there's a problem with drainage that runs through that washes all of that aggregate out of there and on down through the storm sewer system. We have been approached by the property owner on the east side of the alley, asking us to pave the alley. We've had some conversations, and I believe you guys on the west side, is that correct? Come on up and join the discussion.
This is
My
Richard.
understanding is from talking to the attorneys for the people who own the east side, she's ready to pay, she wants the alley paved. We've got an estimate for the number, but excuse me, your name?
Rich,
Dobbin Deep,
Okay.
and your address, please, just for the record, Rich.
representing RNG Rentals LLC, 6484 East Linden Road, Holmesville, Nebraska,
Thank you.
68310.
And at least, Rich, my understanding from talking to your attorney is that you're not interested or crazy about the idea of paving the alley. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
That would be correct. Our tenants do not benefit from that alley at all. Along the south side of the building, the parking is designated in a northwesterly direction so that they kind of back out into the alley and then go west. That is all paved. And as far as my tenants, they were all very happy when the city did close it temporarily until a discussion could be had on what to do.
So, Rich, you're saying they back out into this alley and use it, or they do not use it at all?
Not the alley in the conversation. Our alley is the east-west
Gotcha. All right.
alley.
So I guess the question is, of the price tag, the city doesn't feel like this should be a cost that we bear. Again, we don't have a need for this alley. There's an east-west alley that runs through there. If you do a paving assessment, as you know, you need 51% of the frontage owners to approve it. Dominic's own half of it, and so that's going to fail 50 to 50. The other option that the owner on the east side has asked is to gap and extend. You're allowed to gap and extend, basically force the paving assessment through, assess both property owners over a 10-year time period. So we brought this before you because how do you want us to proceed?
What do we think the anticipated cost of doing that would be?
James's estimate was $23,000.
Stan.
So 50% of the cost would be shared by both.
Yes.
Rich?
Ted.
Or, I'm sorry, Ted, you're Rich.
You want to go first? Did you have something?
No, he was.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just confused the names. Ted?
So the city is always a yes on a paving district. We own the intersection, we own the sidewalk. And we don't have, there's not an intersection because it's an alley, but we do own the sidewalk. So obviously looking at the pictures, the sidewalk portion of this needs to be repaired. So the apron going into the alley is owned by the city. Would that represent 1%, 0.5% of that? I mean, does that?
Are you talking about frontage ownership or are you talking cost?
Well,
Ultimately, it'd be the same thing, but
I guess I'm talking about frontage ownership, because the city is always a yes on the paving districts. So if the alley goes, what I'm asking is does it stop at the property line, or do we own part of the paving that goes into the apron of the alley? If we own a foot of that on both ends, then we own a percentage of that alley, and we are, yes, it goes beyond that. So if not, then this is something that is simply a dispute between the two.
right, I would have to go back and look to see how we've done it in the past, because intersections have always been an issue,
Right.
and the city's always paid the cost of paving the intersection.
Right, and we
And I-
bear the cost of paving the apron as it would move into both ends of the alley.
I don't know if we would count that as part of the ownership percentage,
We never have.
or if that's the city's cost.
No, we
Well,
never have.
We measured it, it's measured in the intersection, it's measured in.
It's measured in, but we have never put a percentage to the city. It's always been a 50-50 or 51% for the frontline property owners.
Yeah, I can
We've
only
never
think-
had a
I
percentage
can
of
only
the
think
city
of
itself.
4 or 5 alleys that we paved that were on the paving districts.
I mean, the last
And we did
assessment
one
we
on
did was
Stanton, where your house was a paving district, Stan.
Correct.
I remember when we did that.
You know, when we did 19th Street,
Yeah.
we counted the Wise property, we counted the Good Sam's, and we counted our substation. We did not count any of the intersection, but it was already paved, and so I don't know the answer for sure.
But-
Gap and extend would be the other option.
Okay, that being said, you're looking at this, well, there's a problem that we have to address. So, I mean, because we still own the alley, you let it erode, eventually it's gonna cause problems for the adjoining property owners, and we're gonna be taking the task for that. So, I guess, what do we do?
Well, I mean, there's a couple options. Either you can go and pave it, which is the $23,000 number, or we can look for some other solutions that it's not passable, but the water doesn't erode away like that. I mean, those are some things we've talked about doing, but I believe the property owner on the east side wants to use the alley, hence they want it paved.
And it looks like the damage is coming from the east property.
Right, a lot of the water comes off of the drainage on the roof off that side. So I think that's, the question is, where do we go from here?
Rich?
So,
Sorry.
Go ahead, Ted.
I have one other question.
Yep.
Can we pave half of it? Can we pave the half that they want paved, run it right down the middle of it, hard surface the other, just rock the others, pave the side that they want paved, let them pay for it, rock the other side hard, leave it alone.
And if you'd have some engineering in there for water drainage, that would.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Keep it
slope
off
it
to the one
in,
side.
let them pave to the side that they want paved, you have concrete on one side, you have rock on the other. Can you do
I'd
that?
assume it's possible.
That'd be my only, I'm not asking for an answer tonight, I'm just saying, can we do that? And that was my other, last question, so I'm done.
I would assume it would be possible to pave half of it, and obviously it wouldn't be drivable.
Would be drivable,
I mean, it would,
and it would,
One
I
part
would
would be
assume
hard
it would
concrete.
stop the erosion.
right, you'd have to angle it so that it kept the water within basically that drainage ditch and ran it down and onto the street.
Counselor?
Is there any way that, and would they even be willing for the property owner to the east to take the full assessment?
I don't know if she has been asked that
I don't know if it's
question.
even been asked, but I don't even know if it's even legally possible under the way that we do special assessments, but
I
that we would come in and pave it with the adjacent property owner's permission if he's okay with paving it, but asking that the full assessment be assessed against the east property over a 10-year period.
$300 a year,
I think you would just
4%
simply
interest.
do a simple contract between the city and that property owner. That way you don't need Mr. Dominic's permission. We're not on his property. She agrees to pick up the whole cost. I think it's possible.
But then
You
it's
can ask that
also
question.
backed by assessments and then
Right.
versus a contract, which is, we're gonna go a different route in regards to collecting on it and enforcing it.
Then would we-
Contract might be better, we might be able to enforce it quicker if it defaults.
Longer time.
She has indicated that that's not an issue for her.
Oh, okay.
We talked to our engineer
Rich?
to see if it-
Do you use that portion of the alley? You said you didn't use that portion of the alley at all?
We never have, and neither of any of my tenants. I visited with all of them in there, and they said, no, they've never used it.
So they either go to Sixth Street or they go to Fifth Street.
They all felt that, especially in the wintertime, if that is a hard surface, with apparently some tenants from the townhouse attempted to drive through the washout and damage their vehicle. You know, this is Nebraska, we get rain and then it turns to ice and then turns to snow and with a grade that steep, there's no physical way to really level that or lower the grade. And therefore, our biggest fear is in the wintertime, somebody would attempt to go down that before it's been serviced, and perhaps take out the pole at the end of the alley, or worse yet, end up in my building or into into her building. So, I mean, to me, that's probably the biggest factor to consider, is how quickly are we going to be able to take care of that alley in the wintertime. You know, even snow can become very slick under tires.
Why don't we investigate that idea of the full assessment by the other property owner and bring it back to council?
Because I was gonna say, as far as gap and extend, I've never been a proponent of a gap and extend, simply because that's just forcing one party to pay when they shouldn't, so if it does go to gap and extend, I won't support that. But if she wants to pay the entire assessment,
I guess that's just kind of the question. I mean, she's looking for some type of solution, and if gap and extend is something that might carry weight here, we need to know that. And if it's not going to, we need to know that as well, so we can continue to kind of move forward. And
well, as far as gap and extend, I don't think he should be forced to pay for something he doesn't want when it's a 50-50. And you guys know I've always voted against gap and extend.
And, I mean, if you're gonna invest that, then might as well investigate the half the concrete and half the rock as well. I mean,
Turn it all back to rock.
Yeah.
Okay,
If it was my property and I'd come to you and I'd say I wanted it hard surfaced, I'd still want it hard surfaced, even my half of it, but it's not my property. But I'd vote for gap and extend, I always have.
so you want us to go ahead and investigate? the
Yeah,
possibility of the
absolutely.
other
I mean,
property
whether,
owner?
whether we can do half of it, whether she's willing to pay for all of it, you know. I guess my question to Rich is if we could extend this more than the 10 years. I mean, is it a monetary thing? I mean, if we could, because that's just our normal thing, but I mean, if we could make this a 15-year, 10 or a 20-year deal, reduce your annual cost, I mean, would that change it for you?
10 years, about $1,100.
Probably not, due to the fact that there's no benefit for us in this regard.
Well, if it's paved, I want to argue it that way. If it's paved, it improves your property. If it's paved, your tenants can use it. If it's paved, everybody in the city can use it. they can't use it now. If it's paved, the rest of the city doesn't have to pay for the rock and the other debris that washes out in the alley and damages the sidewalk on the street. I mean, there's half a dozen things that it's an improvement. Less to maintain, it's easier to maintain a piece of concrete than it is to maintain a gravel road. It costs the city less, it costs everybody in the city less, there's advantages to it. I'm not gonna argue that with you, I'm just telling you that's the truth. So, but I think that we're fine where we're going.
Phil?
I was just asking.
Since I used to live at 820 North Fifth, apartment 10, which is right there up the thing, it didn't look much better than that it did 20 years ago. That's about what the,
But we used it.
yeah, the alley looked right then. And if we're gonna look at this, we probably need to look at the east side's property and see how we're gonna change her water so it's not running onto that road.
We did have that conversation. She indicated this time she didn't want to change the water. She was willing to pay for the paving rather than change the flow off her water. She is willing to make some improvements to her stairs and some of those things and do some of that concrete work at the same time.
Okay. So,
Okay. We'll investigate these and obviously keep you in the loop. And
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate it. Our next regular scheduled meeting is on September 19th, 7 o'clock, right in these chambers. We are now going to close with an executive session.
Mayor, I move that the Beatrice City Council go into closed session at 7:46 PM for the protection of public interest to discuss real estate.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
And moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that we go into executive session at 7:46 PM. Vote, please. And that is approved 7-0. All right.